It's a lovely crisp winter's day, so Logan and I have headed out so that I can show you a place that I think it's worth a mention, because lots of folk nowadays want to go to a place called the Devil's Pulpit after Outlander featured it. Now I have to admit, I haven't watched Outlander, I haven't watched that episode, but I do know that the Devil's Pulpit is attracting massive crowds, and we get asked by lots of people for tour itineraries that will feature and take them to the Devil's Pulpit. And that's fine, but the problem with the Devil's Pulpit is everybody knows about it now, and it's in a location where there's not very good parking, there aren't good facilities, there's lots of litter unfortunately because of all the visitors going there, so it's become a bit overcrowded. But I'm going to show you, if I don't fall down, because this is let me just pan this camera around to show you this. Okay, these are the steps that we're going down. But if you can put up with the mud and the stream, you can come to this fantastic place, which is called Crichope, or Crichope Linn, Linn being a Scottish word for waterfall. And this is a red sandstone gorge where lots of history, lots of folklore as well. There's folklore of elves living in this gorge, and you can quite believe it. I'll pan around because it's more interesting than me. You can quite believe that elves would live in this area. It's full of moss, everything's covered in green. And there used to be a big stone that was called the Elves' Kirk, which was meant to be where the elves would congregate and do whatever elf religion they have. That stone has since been destroyed, smashed up by the locals. I think folklore, they probably thought that the elves were killing their cattle or something, so they destroyed the kirk. But there's something far more interesting about the place. It was also in the 1600s a place where a lot of the Covenanters would hide out in. I'll tell you a bit more about that later, because I don't want to hold you back from the really great thing about this place. In fact, what I'm going to do is turn the camera around, and you might not hear me because there's a waterfall that will drown me out. But it's just got the most amazing geological feature. It's almost spooky, because just the rock formations feel like something you've seen in a fairy movie or some sort of supernatural type film. And I'm going to pan the camera around now and just shut up and let you experience it the way you should. Now, this is actually a rock. It's not man-made. It looks like it's man-made, but this is a natural formation. You see the wee holes in the side? All these little holes down here. But best of all, you go through this archway, and then, okay, we've got the waterfall, but we've got this gorge up ahead of us. Carved, it's very soft red sandstone, so the water can very easily carve through it. And is that not every bit as good as the Devil's Pulpit, with the waterfall cascading down? And although it's not particularly well known nowadays or visited by many folk, it was a major tourist attraction many years ago, and there's all this interesting graffiti round about. I can't quite make it all out. That looks like J. Smith, FP, J... I can't make it out. Anyway, 1828. Robert Burns is meant to have been here, and if you... 1857 up here. 1857, 1857. They do say that Robert Burns visited here, and his signature is somewhere on the rocks as well. You'll have a good job trying to find that, but very interesting place, fantastic waterfall, and we've got it all to ourselves. So I'm going to tell you about the Covenanters next, because the Covenanters used to hide here. As you can imagine, lots of little nooks and crannies and rock holes that they could hide in. And the Covenanters were a Scottish religious movement. In a way a bit like the modern day independence movement, the Covenanters were resisting the involvement of the King of Britain, as it was at that time, Charles I, in the Scottish Church. Because a founding principle of the Scottish Presbyterian Church is that man has a contract with God, and there's no one in between. There's no bishops, there's no pope. And the king wanted to enforce the sort of English Church of England model on Scotland, and appoint himself as being a divine being, somehow superior to ordinary men and more divine than ordinary men, which the Covenanters had projected to. And that then led to a whole load of bloodshed, Scotland getting involved in this, and then Oliver Cromwell. It's a very complicated story, and you really ought to go and read it up. But the Covenanters were at their strongest in this part of Scotland, southwest Scotland. We're very near to a place called Thornhill, and we're just north of Dumfries, which you may have heard of. And this is main Covenanter territories. Anyway, I'm going to shut up there, and I'll just close out with some pictures, because it's a really fantastic, magical little place, and that waterfall and those rock formations make it worth visiting. But do come and bring your welly boots, because it is such a muddy place. Crichope is full of legends of elves and fairies and pixies and things, and I've found something here that I've never seen before. This kind of adds to its mystery. Look at this. It's actually a weird type of ice, it seems to be. It's just snowy ice. I've never seen this before. How bizarre. It's like strands of white hair. You can quite understand how people would have thought this place was enchanted when you get such strange things as this. I've never seen that before. If anyone can explain that to me, please post a comment in the section underneath the video. I'd love to know more about this. It's a novelty for me. Anyway, we're off to meet the elves now, somewhere else. As you can see, it's a lovely Sylvian setting.